So yeah, it would not surprise me to see a Chief Justice Roberts sort of staking his claim, essentially warning the Biden administration that this is not going to go the way you think it's going to go, and so you had better stop, because we don't want, Chief Justice Roberts, don't want to demolish your entire gun control agenda. That's not my desire or my goal, but you're going to force my hand, because if these cases come to the Supreme Court, look who's on it.
Looks like, as of today, they're going to be taking up New York State Rifle versus Corlett Keith et al., which is essentially a major Second Amendment case. It is a challenge to the New York State laws that are heavily restrictive with regard to carrying concealed in the state of New York. Now, in most states in the union, carrying is generally, pretty simple. Unfortunately, in 8 or 9 states, it's California, Delaware, Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Rhode Island, and New York. It's quite a bit of that Northeast district there is pretty strict when it comes to the right to carry. You have to not only get your license. To get that license, it actually was, when I was growing up, before I came out here, was one of the challenges was you had to have like some fantastical reason as to why you needed to carry a firearm. You had to, it wasn't just, oh, well, this is my constitutional right, I would like to exercise it. It was, I go to a dangerous place for work and I need this firearm. And so you had to display need. Now, New York has decided that they want to force folks to display the same. Fortunately, those challenges have risen all the way up to the Supreme Court, and it looks like we may get a pretty substantial decision here. People are throwing back to D.C. versus Heller, which in 2008 was the decision that essentially makes it completely permanent and completely acceptable for someone to own a handgun in their home as a personal defense item under the Second Amendment. That kind of gives that Second Amendment coverage to personal self-defense. The look here is that it could expand it to outside of the home now. The Second Amendment does mean personal defense in the home, outside the home, everywhere in the United States if you are a citizen or a person under the jurisdiction of the United States. So, my question for you guys with regard to this case is, first of all, is this actually a kind of a docket response to Biden coming in so hard on gun control? Is it essentially the court signaling, hey, the Roberts Court has been argued to be a little bit, they'd like to punt on some of those more major issues. They don't want to set precedent when they can avoid it. Is this them saying, don't give us a reason to, rule on these major things? You gotta roll back your kind of congressional agenda in this administration. Is it a warning to take up this case?
I think that's a really interesting question. I would not put any sort of maneuvering like that past John Roberts, and as disillusioned as many on the right have been with Chief Justice Roberts, I think for the most part he's had a pretty even hand. I believe I disagreed with his Obamacare decision, which was pivotal, and I think left distaste in the mouths of a lot of conservatives. Yes. I think that a lot of people who don't like him for that reason. But he is a what's the word you used earlier, Andrew? An institutionalist. He is an institutionalist, as Kavanaugh often is. I think it's very ironic that Kavanaugh was the one that everybody
that they fought so
on
hard
the left,
against.
had a cow about, and he's almost as much a big government person as they are, many of them anyway. So yeah, it would not surprise me to see a Chief Justice Roberts sort of staking his claim, essentially warning the Biden administration that this is not going to go the way you think it's going to go, and so you had better stop, because we don't want, Chief Justice Roberts, don't want to demolish your entire gun control agenda. That's not my desire or my goal, but you're going to force my hand, because if these cases come to the Supreme Court, look who's on it. You don't have the you don't have a Ruth Bader Ginsburg on here anymore. She's been replaced. Are you even paying attention to that? I think that's a reasonable question to ask.
Josh, what do you think?
I'm not sure if I guess the Supreme Court's trying to send a signal. I guess they always are. I'm I am not smart enough to understand what those signals are ever. It's neat looking back. If you are depressed about the state of the country and you feel like we're losing the culture wars and we're losing fight after fight, one thing you can look at over the last 20, 30, maybe even 40 years is gun rights and look at what has happened with those. Man, those now the right hasn't expanded, but recognition of the right has expanded.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was a kid growing up, we were thinking, okay, I've got a concealed carry weapon, or my dad has got a concealed carry weapon here. What other states can he carry it in? And now that's almost not even a question anymore. Most states have reciprocity. I'm hoping, if I understand this correctly, this may finally fix the shall issue versus may issue, which is this. There's some states where if you apply for a concealed carry permit, the state may issue you the permit. Other states shall issue you the permit. A may issue state is a state that's going to make you state some reasons why you need it, and then the state itself will exercise discretion over whether or not you meet the criteria. Shall issue states are the ones that tend to be gun friendlier, and they say, look, if you meet the requirements on the application, then man, you're going to get your concealed carry permit.
Right.
I'm hoping
it shifts the burden of proof in a
Yes.
sense.
Exactly in the direction it should go.
Right.
And so I'm hoping this will fix that. We are seeing it is just an interesting thing to me. We just have won on guns over and over and over and over and over and over again. It is unbelievable. And I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about this, but it's so interesting that conservatives are able to win that one. I mean, just nonstop, almost every time it comes up. Whereas we know how to lose just about everything else. And so what's the difference there? I don't know what the difference there is. We need to think about that some. I'm excited about what could come out of it. I don't know if you're right that Roberts is kind of saying, hey, hold back, keep your powder dry, whatever. If he is saying that, I hope that Biden will completely ignore him because we need to demolish as much of this language as we can. It is the fundamental freedom that makes all the others possible.